So this has been a pretty interesting week in WWE. So yeah, as I just looked up before I even started recording this, just to make sure that I get all the matches down packed and I can come up with my predictions for later on in this show for the predictions for the TLC pay-per-view that's coming on tonight. There was a virus going around in the WWE locker room, and two of the people that are in heavy storylines when it comes to just Raw, the Raw pay-per-view is Bray Wyatt, aka Sister Abigail, and Roman Reigns. I guess they call it viral meningitis, and so they will be out of the pay-per-view event. And so looking at this is kind of like, wow, these are two of the main players in two big storylines on this pay-per-view. So what are they going to do? And they had to scramble around and do some like quick thinking. So they had replacements, which I am going to get later on in the show. But first I want to start off with basically what I've been doing with the Take One episodes of the Wrestling Corner. And the Take One podcast episode that involved just the Wrestling Corner. I'm going to basically just be talking about the good and bad of Raw and Smackdown for this week or whatever week of, I'm basically doing a podcast on. And then I'm going to get to my TLC pay-per-view predictions and the replacements and basically just what they did with those two matches as involving it tonight. So I'm basically going to get right into it. As these shows progress, I'm going to have different theme songs for different things or whatever. Not even just a podcast, but for like other stuff that I have going on this channel. So just bear with me. It's going to sound similar to the Take One podcast, but this is the Triple W podcast. This is all wrestling all the time. I'm going to start putting different things within it, different wrestling pieces of tidbit news and stuff and all that. So let's get right into it. Episode 1 of the Triple W podcast, the wonderful world of wrestling. So basically, this week in Raw, it starts off with the Shield coming out in their old outfits, basically doing the old thing or whatever, coming out the crowd and stuff. And so Roman really hasn't changed. He just doesn't have his own symbol on, his suit, on his vest or whatnot, but he's still the same and all that good stuff. And so he says they're back and they're better than ever and all that good stuff. And so they call out the Bar and the Miz and Strowman, and so they want to get it on right then and there. But then Kurt comes out and stops them and tells them to save it for Sunday. Then after that, we get a song performed by Elias, Gallows, and Anderson, which wasn't like the best kind of promo segment before the match or whatever, but it is what it is. And then after that, they come out with a tag team where it's Elias, Gallows, and Anderson versus Titus, Jason Jordan, and Apollo Crews, which I kind of like. I guess you could say I kind of marked out. I didn't mark out. Let's put it like this. I got kind of excited because last week, last week, I was planning on doing a quick take video or doing something on the Take One podcast about, okay, so we got two people on this brand, Raw. And then we have a person that's kind of like a manager type, they're playing this manager type role, which is Titus O'Neil. And he has a person that's under there, which is Apollo Crews. I don't know what happened with Tozawa. Maybe they had something on 205 where he just said that he don't want to be a part of that no more. And then that storyline is just dead. Or maybe they still do it on 205. I don't know. Because I don't watch 205. I may. But right now, it's just, whatever. But anyway, so right now, he just has Apollo Crews underneath Titus Worldwide or whatnot. And as we all see as, with that's going on with Titus and Apollo, is that it really isn't too big of a storyline. And Apollo, he has all the skill, he has the look and all that stuff, but as far as charisma and mic skills, he hasn't been there yet. And who else do we know that has that type of thing? Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan has the look, he has the in-ring talent, he has the skill and everything else. But when it comes to being on the mic and actually delivering what character he wants to deliver, or whatever character they gave him to, expand on as far as giving his charisma or whatever, or lack thereof, he just doesn't have it. So I thought in my mind, it would be perfect to have those two together, because just think about it. Okay, you would think that having two people that have great skill and all this stuff, but no charisma, having them two in the tag team or something like that, it's like it don't make any sense. But in the same sense, when you look at the New Day, it's actually one of those people, actually one of those groups that before, Kofi Kingston had somewhat of like some charisma and all that stuff, but he wasn't really doing anything. Same with Big E. Once he left, basically being a hitman or the bodyguard of Dolph Ziggler, he basically wasn't really doing too much after that. And then Xavier Woods had his little thing going on in, NXT, but when he came onto the main roster, he wasn't really doing anything. He was just here and there. But once you put them all together and they found their voice and they found what will make them be successful, now they're one of the biggest and most popular and well-liked tag teams in the tag team division, whether it be on Raw or SmackDown, whichever brand they're going to be on. They are the most popular, and they move merchandise. And that happens because, Ezekiel, that is a totally different wrestler. But Big E, he has basically, he has that charisma, but he couldn't find it on his own. Same as, Xavier, same as Kofi, but they all found their voice together. And I feel like that can be the same that goes for Apollo Crews and Jason Jordan. If they can form together to create a formidable tag team, I feel like they could be something more of another. You have Titus, who isn't great on the mic, but he's much better than Apollo and Jason Jordan. So if you have him as a mouthpiece, more than likely get him talking more, and just do it per week, then you're going to come up with something to where you have something special, where you have two great in-ring talents, and maybe they, along the lines throughout the months or over a year from now, they can basically grow to actually be able to talk on the mic and become better performers. So by the time you get to a point where you want to break them apart and they become solo, they can actually do something. You can actually see Jason Jordan winning, the minor titles, maybe, a Intercontinental Championship or US title, and maybe down the line, maybe becoming, Universal or WWE champion. And the same with Apollo Crews. Either or. I mean, I can see Jason Jordan being that way, but still, you can see Apollo Crews probably being like a big name. And that's what I felt like they need to do. And that's what my quick takes was going to be about. And so seeing them come out, hopefully WWE has had that in mind to make Jason Jordan put like a storyline where he is basically going to be under, Titus Worldwide. And they maybe come out with a tag team, probably Jordan Cruz or Cruz Jordan, or probably like Tag Team Worldwide, or just come out with a name like that. I mean, Tag Team Worldwide sounds good because Titus Worldwide, and that's his tag team. He put them together and then he puts them out. So Tag Team Worldwide, bam. I mean, or you could just go with ordinary, Jason Jordan and Apollo Crews. Just give them both the names, but still. That seemed like it would be a really good thing, and that seemed like something that they would need. But to get off of that and get more into what happened on Raw. So basically, it was kind of like a short match. It was a decent match when they were going up against, like I said, Elias, Gallows, and Anderson. Jordan put Anderson. Well, hold on, But the thing is about it, I'm looking at my notes. Whatever, I'm trying to go quick. It really was no storytelling in this. Like I said, it was a decent match. It was quick. It was short. And it really didn't have any storytelling. It really didn't have that. And I guess it's because there really isn't too much of a story going on between these guys. Maybe later on, if they have another match like this, it'd be a bigger story. But when it comes to it, it really wasn't no storytelling in this. Jordan pushed Anderson in the corner to Apollo, tagging in, and he basically ends up doing the spinning sit-down power bomb for the victory, which is Apollo Crews or whatever. And so they win the match. Next, we have Cedric Alexander versus Jack Gallagher. And I was not a fan of Jack Gallagher's in-ring, attire. He just looked all type of weird. But I am a big fan of his attire right now. I'm guessing, I don't know why they had to do that. I guess they had to do it just kind of like similar to, what's his name? On SmackDown, blah, blah. I am blanking like a motherfucker. Okay, shit. The Lone Wolf. God damn it. What's his name? Oh, fuck. What is his name? Anyway, you guys know who I'm talking about. I'm blanking on his name. Shit. Okay, but I guess it sounds kind of similar like that. The Lone Wolf, how they had him put on a shirt now he wrestles with a shirt because of the way his body looked or whatnot. So I guess it was the same way. Somebody didn't like his ring attire, don't like how he looked when he was out there, so they turned him heel, and now he keeps on all his clothes and stuff, which I'm a big fan of. It fits his character. I like the way it is or whatever. They should keep it like that because he did look weird as hell in trunks, but the match that they had was a good match. It was very entertaining. I liked it. I really did. It was a back and forth. Cedric could be more. I feel like he could be more going past beyond 205. Maybe later on when they start to take certain people out of 205 and putting them on the main roster, he could be way better than 205. He can be way better. And if the rumors that's going on with Neville, hopefully they take him out of 205 and put him back on the main roster. That's what they need to do. Either that or have him go back and forth to where he can be on 205 and then be on the main roster or something of that sort. But it's like Cedric Alexander, they need to take him out of 205. Either that or they need to do more with his character. Make him the champion. I don't know why he hasn't been Cruiserweight champion as of yet. Just to see what happens and how it works. Just with him being champion. But it's whatever. But so Cedric takes the win, but only after Kendrick gets involved. And then Swan ends up basically doing the tornado DDT to him on the outside, which Cedric ends up giving a lumbar check to Gallagher. And so later on, and then after that, we have The Miz TV featuring Braun Strowman. The Miz and the Bar have fun with the crowd, basically just going back and forth. The crowd is saying all this stuff, you look stupid, and so The Miz is taking up for the Bar, and the Bar is going back and forth, and you can tell that they are having fun with the crowd. You can tell that they are having fun. Not as much fun as Kevin Owens be having, but they were having fun going back and forth. And so they basically talk down the Shield. Strowman comes out, adding more to the onslaught, and Miz tries to make their 3-on-4 a 3-on-5, bringing up the fact that, Dean Ambrose said whether it's 3-on-4 or 3-on-5, whether it's 3-on-3, 3-on-4, or 3-on-5, we can take them all, blah, blah. And so last week, Miz ended up getting his wish and bringing Braun Strowman into the fray, making it a 3-on-4. Now he was trying to make it a 3-on-5, in which Kurt Angle comes out and interferes and tells him that if he wants that, Strowman has to win his match against Roman Reigns to get a fifth member. And if Braun Strowman loses, then that means that it goes straight back down to a 3-on-3 match. So it basically all depends on what Strowman does later on the night. Next, we have Sasha. Like I've said before, this is always a plus. Sasha is so damn sexy to me. It is freaking ridiculous. She always gets a point or more whenever I'm doing these good and bad things. She's always on the good side. Oh, and she has a lot of the good side. So next, so with that we have Sasha versus Alicia Fox. It's a back and forth. Fox was real aggressive in the match. I was kind of surprised on what she was doing. Usually I don't really care too much for a Fox match, but she was real aggressive. I was kind of entertained by it. And within that aggression, she ended up giving Sasha a bloody nose. it wasn't too crazy, but you know, Sasha was getting into it, basically getting to it quicker than like it could really come out. So she was able to like kind of wipe it away from her face, so you don't actually see it just like pouring down. Though it wasn't that bad, but still, you can tell that she got hit in the nose from like I think it was like a back elbow type clothesline or something that Fox was giving to Sasha. But still, it wasn't enough. Sasha picks up the win by applying the bait statement. And so after that, there was a backstage brawl after Charlie comes to Sasha and basically asks her about the match. And then Fox comes up behind her and they just start brawling. And Fox gets the upper hand and basically takes out Sasha and let her know that this isn't over. So the storyline continues, of course, because they have a match tonight. Then we have Enzo addressing his loss to Kalisto and basically saying that Kalisto stole it all because of the help of Mustafa Ali. And so then Kalisto comes out, really no surprise, he has no reaction. I don't know what they could do with Kalisto, I really don't. But in any case, putting him up against Enzo really doesn't help him. You would think that putting somebody up against a heel that a lot of people don't like, that will make people like him more, him or her more, or whatever the case may be. But it doesn't, because even though Enzo is hated, a lot of people still like Enzo. A lot of people, he has his catchphrases. He's very good on the mic. Well, when he's not put up against somebody like a John Cena, Rock, or Miz, or just somebody who has way better mic skills than he does. But, you know, when he's put up against other people, he is the realest G in the room, as you could say. And so basically, so Kalisto comes out and he does the lucha, and really no reactions except for that, because, you know, the crowd just wants to feel involved. And so there's a verbal exchange leading up to Kalisto being blindsided by other members of the Cruiserweights. And so they basically take him out. Ali comes out to help Kalisto. He takes down everybody for a good little minute, but then is eventually overcome by the number game. And then Enzo hits his finisher and walks off to Kalisto. And basically that's the end of that. I don't know where this alliance came from. Maybe they'll elaborate more on it. Maybe they have. I don't watch 205, so yeah, there you go. And so next after that, we have Ambrose versus Rollins. Oh wow! And we have Ambrose and Rollins versus The Bar, and it was a very competitive match with Cesaro almost falling victim. Basically, I ain't gonna say he was almost falling victim, but they kind of teased, in a sense, made fun of the whole thing when Cesaro knocked two of his teeth up 3 centimeters into his gums. They basically teased that, as it was in the same type of way where Dean Ambrose was about to fling him into the steel post or the ring post or whatever. But Cesaro ends up catching himself and he stands up like, not today, and then he jumps back out at Dean. And so, but then Ambrose and Rollins get their win with the Kingslayer into the Dirty Deeds to Cesaro. And I just want to say to Graves that it is not Super Saiyan, it's Super Saiyan. Because at one point in the match, Cesaro and Sheamus, they do this thing where it's kind of like mocking not even gonna say WWE, they're mocking Dragon Ball Z, where at the entrance they do the whole thing where they kind of like almost touch fingers, kind of like they're merging into one. And that's one thing that happens on Dragon Ball Z or whatnot. And they kind of did something in the ring where it was kind of similar to that as well. You can tell that they're anime fans, that they watched DBZ. And Corey Graves basically said it was a Super Saiyan, but it's not. It's Super Saiyan. So yeah, nitpick of the day. We have Finn, who gives a message to Super Abigail and teases turning into a pumpkin so that he can fight Sister Abigail at TLC. And then we have next Alexa Bliss. She is a plus. Just like Sasha, she is a plus. I love seeing Alexa Bliss. She is just so sexy. So damn sexy to me. So she gets a plus when it comes to, you know, giving a rating to Raw of that week, if her and Sasha is on there, it's double, triple, quadruple. And so the match goes into Bliss and Emma versus Mickie James and Bayley. It was a good match. I enjoyed it. And I think Mickie and Bayley should make a good tag team. I think they should go along with that. The whole Sasha Bayley thing, it's blatant that eventually it's going to turn into Sasha basically turning on Bayley. But if that ends up happening, they should have a Mickie James and Bayley tag team, or, just them, being best friends, because I don't know, like, I have this whole image of when Mickie James first came onto the scene, how she was just this happy-go-lucky kind of cheerleader type girl, and she was all kind of like stalking Trish Stratus or whatever, and she had this kind of like infatuation with her and all this stuff when she first started. It's kind of, I ain't gonna say similar to Bayley, but the whole happy type feel, type character or whatever is similar to Bayley's, as Bayley is a hugger and that she loves positivity and that she's just this good all around girl next door and all this stuff. I feel like this should be some type of friendship between them. They could do a lot with that, and I feel like that they should go on. And this is my whole thing of what I see should happen, and this goes along with the Apollo Crews and Jason Jordan thing mashup. So I feel like they should have a storyline going on with these two. Not have Mickie James or Bayley turn on one another, but they should have like a friendship. I feel like that would be a good thing to do. But along with that, I think they should be a good tag team. Mickie and Bayley take the win with a mid kick from Mickie. And so next we have Axel being turned upside down by the Shield, which was basically planning on, which I ain't touch on or whatever, but Axel was giving basically a talk to the Bar after their loss to Ambrose and Rollins, and then Braun Strowman came in and he was telling Braun Strowman we need to take them out, that if he could, he'd go after and beat up Roman Reigns right now. And then Braun Strowman told him, like, well, go find him then. And so they was looking at him, and then Sheamus said that, like, the fifth member of our team wouldn't be scared to go find Roman Reigns and go beat him up. And so that basically they egged him on, and so he's like, what, I'm gonna go do it. And so one of the next scenes later on, you see Axel finding the Shield, and as he goes to him, it goes off air, which I wasn't really a big fan of. I feel like they should have just saw him walking, and then that's it. And then later on, we basically would have put it together that he found the Shield, but he ends up finding the Shield, so he starts walking towards them, goes off air, and then later on, we find the Miz, who comes in and he asks where Axel is, and so he goes out looking for him, and he finds him upside down, beaten up. Basically due to the Shield ends up basically due to the fact that he found the Shield and they overcame him. And so they put him upside down. And so the thing is like, I was looking at this and I'm like, so nobody walking around back saw, Axel hanging upside down until the Miz came. I mean, because you got to think about it. I mean, even just in storyline. I know this is all, fake or whatever. But in storyline, you had like, 1 to 2 matches. You have 2 to 3 different segments going on before this eventually happened. So, what? And I could see if it was like in a door, like in a room with the door closed, but it was literally out in the open. Like anybody walking in the area could have looked over to the side and saw him. Maybe they just walked past and like, oh, Axel, yeah, he probably deserved it. Whatever. I don't know. I just was like, okay, whatever. But then we have Reigns versus Strowman in a cage match. Basically, it was a brawl inside the match that led to Reigns almost climbing out of the ring until the Bar interferes again against Angle's orders that told them that earlier in the night that everyone was banned from the ring, banned from being around the ring. And so after that interference, the Shield comes in and counters. The rest of the Shield comes in and counters. And so they basically brawl to the back, and which leads Miz to lock them behind something for whatever reason. I don't know. I guess maybe it was to keep the Shield away, just in case, the bar don't end up getting the job done or putting them out or whatever. That was just to keep the Shield away from the ring for what he had planned later on. And so later on, we have a lift up from Braun brings Reigns down for the Superman punch to Strowman. And so after that, we have Kane's music hits, and everyone is looking confused. And then after that, we see Kane come from under the ring. Well, comes through the mat as he has done several times in the past. And so he basically causes Reigns the match after two choke slams, a tombstone power driver, and 2 running power slams from Braun Strowman. And so we end up finding out after that, which closes off Raw, that The Miz says that Kane is the 5th member of their group. So yeah, we have our match set. And so the good and bad things, it wasn't stuff that I didn't like about this. This is actually a pretty good show. Some of the good things I liked about it was the Alexander versus Gallagher match. Miz TV was actually pretty good. Banks and Fox, that was a good match. I enjoyed that. And the Enzo promo with Kalisto, that was actually a pretty good one. It wasn't no bad things that I liked about Raw tonight. This past Monday, it was not anything that I could say that I hated about it. So I'll give this an 8. It was a really good show. I enjoyed it. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst at all. It's actually one of the better shows that I've seen lately. And so we have the rundown of SmackDown. And so basically it starts off with Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn having a promo. And Daniel Bryan wants to face with Sami Zayn. And Zayn comes out to confront him. And so he basically reiterates what he said last week and why he did what he did, while adding on some more stuff. And so Owens comes out and basically calls Daniel Bryan the authority now, that he's a hypocrite and that he's a sellout and all this stuff. And they basically just take turns running Daniel Bryan down and basically making fun of the fact that he can't wrestle no more and, just stuff like that. And so Daniel Bryan basically walks out the ring. And so they said that, that's basically what he does best, is just walk out the ring. And so he tells him, where am I going? I'm going to go find 2 guys that's going to punch you guys in the face. And so he goes out to find a tag team that will face Owens and Zayn for later on. So next we have Becky and Charlotte and Naomi versus Lana, Tamina, and Natalya. And this should be an awesome match. That's sarcasm. It was a decent match. Lana, of course, was the weak link, but she did look good while being so. So we have Becky, Charlotte, and Naomi ends up winning, with Lana tapping out to the figure 8 by Charlotte. After the match, Naomi tries to do the same. Natalya tries to do the same thing to Charlotte that she did at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view event, where she basically tried to. What was that? No, that's No Mercy. I'm tweaking hard as hell. So that she did at the No Mercy pay-per-view event, where she hurt her leg and she was trying to hit her with the chair. But this time, Charlotte counters and basically chases Natalya off. And basically that's the end of that one. And so Daniel Bryan ends up finding Kevin Owens and Zayn's opponents, and he lets them know backstage that it is Orton and Nakamura. And so they walk off. Owens and Zayn walk off looking kind of worried or whatnot. And so after that, we have Sin Cara versus Baron Corbin. And this match was just bad. Nothing happened at all. Majority of the stuff that happened was outside the ring. And that was just basically Sin Cara knocking Baron Corbin out the ring. And I don't get it. I don't get why this match was the way it was. Renee came after the match and said what an impressive victory, which it really wasn't. Through my eyes, I don't feel a count out victory is an impressive victory. This is not an impressive victory. If it was something to where it's like a last man standing, or if it was like a regular match or a submission, then I could see it being like, impressive, but a count out is not impressive. Jinder comes out and cuts a promo. He challenges Brock Lesnar stupidly to Survivor Series, which I hope this match doesn't happen because we all know how that's going to end. That's going to be an easy prediction. AJ Styles comes out and tells him that he has gone against a lot of people on SmackDown, on the SmackDown Live brand, but he hasn't gone against AJ Styles. And so he challenges him for the WWE Championship, in which basically Jinder Mahal he basically declines, which turns into a brawl in the ring, and AJ takes out the Singh brothers and Mahal, and basically is left in the ring to basically just wander around. And so after that, we have Rude versus Ziggler. Ziggler comes out to his whack-ass entrance with the whole thing. It begins with his theme song, and then it has the record stopping, which I don't get why they do that. It's stupid. I feel like he should just come out in all black and just basically just that's what it is. Just have the announcer, have like the ring announcer just comes out, well, just say, and next, and his opponent from such and such weighing in and blah, 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 Dolph Ziggler, and just have him walk down. We don't need the music and then the record stopping. We don't need that. And so it was a decent match. It was a back and forth with counters and with an almost glorious DDT, but Dolph gets the 3 count after pulling on the tights from a from a pin-up or whatever. Pin-up, wow. From a rolling pin-up. Well, a rolling pin. You know what the hell I'm trying to say. And so backstage we have a segment where it's a Rusev Day. And so Aiden English confronts 2 guys in the back about their musical taste. And so when he asks them what's their musical taste, the New Day comes out basically blowing, Francesca and throwing cereal all over the place. And so the 2 guys start dancing around like only white people can do. I'm not racist, but it's funny if you've seen this segment. And then Rusev comes out to basically aid Aiden, no pun intended, and basically his confrontation with the New Day. So you can kind of see that this is a new storyline that they're going to, Aiden and Rusev versus the New Day, which right now I don't really have too much credence on, but hopefully it is somewhat entertaining. And so basically Rusev tells them that it is Rusev Day, and then Kofi is like, again? And so he's like, you know what that means? And then they start playing, which was actually pretty funny. New Day starts playing Rusev's theme on Francesca as they walk off. And then you get Rusev looking mean as Aiden tries to sing, "It's Rusev Day." And Rusev stops him and says, "It's not the time." So you can tell that they're going somewhere with this. And then after that, we have Owens and Zayn versus Orton and Nakamura, which was actually a pretty good match. Sammy saves Owens after a knee from Nakamura is given off the top turnbuckle. Orton puts Sammy through an announcer's table, as well as Orton and Zayn takes the win basically due to the fact of Zayn giving Orton a low blow after the distraction from the referee by Owens. And so he gives him the haluba kick for the 3 count. And that ends off the show basically with Owens. What actually made it like pretty interesting. Well, actually I didn't say interesting, but funny, with Owens and Zayn basically talking to Daniel Bryan and telling him like, "Is that all you get? Ain't nobody gonna stop us," and blah, 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 and just bragging about how good they are and all this stuff, and that it doesn't matter what they put up against them, that they're gonna win, and that they beat 2 of their best. And so he said, "What you got for us next week?" Huh. And so Daniel Bryan said, "It's not up to him. It's up to Shane McMahon." And so they look worried after that. But a little bit after that, they come back out while Orton and Nakamura is still, kind of like taken back by their loss. And so they come out and start just bragging and boasting again about their victory and about how like Owens and Zayn are best friends again and that no one can stop them and blah, blah, and that ends off the show. And so this wasn't a bad show. It did have some good points and it had some bad. Well, it had a bad point to it. The beginning promo was actually a pretty good one. And then you have the New Day and Rusev in English segment in the back. I actually like that. That was actually pretty funny. And then we have the Nakamura and Orton match versus Orton. Wow. Okay, let me start that over again. So we have Orton and Nakamura versus Owens and Zayn match. That was actually a pretty good match to end off the show, and even just the stuff that happens after it was some good points. The bad points of this show was Sin Cara versus Baron Corbin, which was the most horrible match of the night. Not saying that there were horrible matches before, but that was like the worst match of tonight. Well, not tonight, but of SmackDown this week. That was just, oh my god, that was just bad. It wasn't it wasn't like the worst match ever, but it was just for this show, it was just, no. And so, with that, I would give SmackDown a 7. It had more bad stuff. I mean, it had more good stuff than bad stuff, but I mean, it was enjoyable. I did like it. It was just the Sin Cara and Baron Corbin match that just kind of threw me over the edge. It was just, down. So, and with the bad and the good stuff, I'm sorry, my stuff fell. But with the bad and the good stuff all over with, we're going to get into the pay-per-view predictions for tonight of TLC. And so I'm going to run through this. This is going to like a little bit further than what I would want it to go. But hell, whatever. I'm going to find a way to condense all this stuff into a 20 to 30 minute show. So I'm going to just go run through this stuff. But until now, I'm going to just do it the way I'm doing it. So we have the pay-per-view predictions for tonight, which is starting off with the kickoff with Alicia Fox versus Sasha Banks. And so I think that Sasha Banks is going to get the victory. I feel like even though after this victory, the feud is still going to go on, I believe that Sasha is going to win. I don't see Fox winning this one, but I do see Sasha winning. I don't think that they're going to give Fox that push. I just think that they need something to do with Sasha Banks. If they need something to do, just call me. I'll give her something to do. And so after that, actually, yeah, we have 3 women's matches. Just to put in a big note for tonight, which that don't mean nothing bad, but it's just, wow. Okay. But in any case, we have Mickie James versus Alexa Bliss, which you already know these are going to be plus for tonight. We already have Sasha and Alexa Bliss on the same show. This is going to be something very sexy. But in any case, we have Mickie James versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. I believe that Alexa Bliss is going to retain. I don't know how long this storyline is going to go for, but I believe that this is going to be, it's going to go for a little bit longer. Alexa Bliss is going to retain. I don't think she's going to lose it right now because out of everybody in this women's division on Raw, I feel like she is the one person who needs to have the championship. She don't need to have it. I feel like she's the only person that can hold it right now until Asuka really makes her debut. Now, I really haven't watched NXT to really be like, oh, Asuka is this, blah, 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 blah. But I feel like after all the hype of Asuka and her undefeated streak on NXT and all that, I feel like they're going to hold it to where, Asuka is going to eventually take the title away from her. So, yeah, Bliss wins. She retains her title. Then we have Kalisto versus Enzo for the Cruiserweight Championship. Easy. Enzo is going to take it. I think they're not going to keep the belt on Kalisto too long. I felt like they only did this because they had they basically wrote themselves into a corner. They backed themselves into a wall. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say the first thing was better. They wrote themselves into a corner. Basically, we're saying that, like, anybody from the Cruiserweight division that touched Enzo, they won't get a championship, title match or whatever, as long as Enzo is the champion. And so after that, you had everybody from the Cruiserweight division touching him. So what you're going to do, you're going to have Enzo hold the title for like ever until, you get new people. And then, whatever. But this seemed like the only logical way was to input, basically saying that was for everybody before Kalisto got inducted, basically got put into the 205 and the Cruiserweight division and all that stuff, which he actually should have been in there from the beginning. And so basically that gives Kalisto the only person that's really able to go for the championship. And so I felt like they did that so that they can give Kalisto the championship, so that they could take themselves out of that corner that they wrote themselves into, to where no one else gets a title shot. So now everyone gets a title shot. Even if Enzo gets back the championship, or when he gets back the championship, you still have everyone else on the roster that can go for the championship again, because once he lost the championship, that goes out the window. The whole stipulation of them not being able to go for the championship goes out the window. So now we're right back where we started again. So I feel like that's the only reason why they did that for Kalisto. And so I don't have no problem with it. And since I feel like that's the only reason that they did that for Kalisto, or just had Kalisto inducted into it, I feel like, yeah, Enzo is going to get the championship tonight, no question. If Kalisto retains, I'll be surprised. And so, basically what I was alluding to earlier with this whole thing of the viral meningitis going on in the locker room and all that stuff, and Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt being taken out of the pay-per-view event tonight, so they had to do 2 replacements. And one of the matches, I feel like, is going to be one of the best matches of the night. This was a match that I ain't gonna say should have happened, but has Royal Rumble to WrestleMania or SummerSlam caliber type popularity, which I would say more for WrestleMania, which is Finn Balor versus AJ Styles. Now you have 2 guys who were former members of the Bullet Club going against each other. And these are 2 great in-ring talents, 2 great in-ring performers, and they are going back to back. Now, since Finn Balor is already scheduled to be the Demon Balor, more than likely they're not going to throw that away just because he's not fighting Bray Wyatt, Sister Abigail, whatever. So it's going to be the Demon Balor versus AJ Styles and all that stuff. I feel like this is going to be one of the best matches of the night, since there is no stakes as far as if it was when Bray Wyatt or Sister Abigail was fighting the Demon Balor. I feel like AJ Styles is going to win. If they want to keep up some momentum with Finn Balor when he finally goes against Bray Wyatt, I feel like this was, they probably would make Finn Balor, they'll probably give Finn Balor, the Demon Balor, to win. But I feel like AJ Styles is going to win, which is kind of like crazy because AJ Styles is part of the SmackDown brand. So, I don't know. I guess whatever they do. I mean, this is a great match. This is a great match. This is a great match. I had to say that 3 times because this is a great match. Hopefully it ends up being an awesome match and a phenomenal match. Pun intended. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. But I think AJ Styles is going to take the victory. Then next we have Emma versus Asuka. No question, Asuka's going to win. This is just a way of giving her somebody that they know that they can have her beat, and it won't be nothing detrimental to someone else's career. Emma is not a main player like an Alexa Bliss or even just a Nia Jax or a Sasha Banks or Bayley. If it was anybody, give it to, Emma. That way, when she loses, it's like, okay, yeah, it's Emma. She's going to lose. Yeah. Especially what they've been doing with her character. It's kind of like giving Asuka Dana Brooke. If they gave her Dana Brooke, I don't think nobody really would have cared because they already know that, Asuka's going to win. They're not going to make her lose right off the bat. So, I mean, it is what it is. And plus, this is her debut match on the main brand, being under the Raw roster. Yeah, she's not going to lose. If she does, that will be the biggest mistake that WWE has made in a good little minute, which they have made a lot of mistakes. So, next after that, we have Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann versus the Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher, which I think that Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann is going to win. I think this feud is going to keep going, so it's not like this is going to be the last match and all this stuff. But even then, I think that, Alexander and Swann was going to win. But yeah, I think that they're going to win, and this feud is going to carry on. I don't think Gallagher is going to win, which they probably might have a big chance on winning, but my money is on Alexander and Swan winning. And so, which brings us to the last match, which, yeah. So, we have well, I'm not even going to attempt that word. Well, we have big changes. Well, another big change. So, along with the viral meningitis going around in the locker room, we have Roman Reigns being taken out of the pay-per-view event. So that brung WWE to scramble around to try and find somebody to fill that slot. So now we have the Bar, which is Sheamus and Cesaro, along with The Miz, Kane, and Braun Strowman versus two-thirds of the Shield, which is Ambrose and Rollins, versus, alongside a mystery opponent, which has been told to be Kurt Angle. Now, this is going to be the first time he has been in the WWE ring, which, if I read it correctly, I think it was like 11 years. It seemed longer than that. I mean, a decade is a long time. A decade, just 10 years by itself is a long time. But if I'm right, it is 11 years. I'm looking up the stuff real quick right now, but yeah, I believe it's like 11 years. This will be the first time. So WWE.com had released a statement saying, due to medical issues impacting two WWE superstars scheduled to appear at WWE TLC Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, streaming live on WWE Network this Sunday. The special event will now feature Kurt Angle competing in a WWE ring for the first time in more than 11 years. Well, more than 11 years. As he replaces Roman Reigns. In addition to former WWE champion, AJ Styles will replace Bray Wyatt and face the Demon Finn Balor. So that was a statement given out from WWE.com, just basically addressing the whole issue. I don't know if any other WWE superstars have been affected, but those two right now are the ones that are affected by this virus that are competing tonight. So who knows? But in any case, so it will be the Shield and Kurt Angle versus the Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro, The Miz, Kane, and Braun Strowman, which is a 3-on-5 match not for anything, but at TLC in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. This is kind of hard because the Shield has been formed back together and hasn't really been in a complete. I don't think that they have been in the match all together. I think they have. No, they haven't. In the match all together, where it was just 3 of them versus 3 other opponents or whatever. So this would be the first match of them all together, which really isn't going to be the first match of them all together because you have Roman Reigns out and Kurt Angle stepping in, in his place. And then you have 5 other opponents that they have to get through. And it's a tables, ladders, and chairs match. And one of those opponents is Braun Strowman, who has been built to be basically a freight train, who has tossed around Brock Lesnar, which in turn Brock Lesnar tosses around other people. So if you got a person on your team that is a tosser arounder that tosses around the tosser arounder, what? So I mean, you have a lot of powerful players. I mean, Miz would not be in that type of category as a powerful player, but Cesaro is strong in his own right. He's already showed impressive feats, lifting up the Big Show and all that stuff. Then you have Sheamus, who is a strong competitor. You have Kane, who is a big, strong competitor at that. And then you have Braun Strowman, who is a monster. The monster among men. Yeah, I think that the Miz's team is going to win. I think the Miz, Bar, Kane, and Strowman are all going to take this. I feel like that's what's going to happen. I'll be surprised if the Shield and Kurt Angle does end up, taking it. But I feel like I think they're going to tweak around the storyline where they have you know, them lose. I think they're gonna have Roman not being there play a major role, especially with having Kurt Angle being in the ring over 11 years, having been in the ring in the WWE ring in over 11 years. I think that's gonna play a role, even though he did have a match later or earlier this year, not in WWE but before. I feel like he's still getting older. He's 48 years old. So, going against somebody like that, I don't know. But I feel like Roman not being there is going to play a major role in the storyline, and which is going to be one of the reasons why they didn't win. And I think it's going to make it all the better when they finally fight, get to fight them with basically being a whole Shield with Reigns, Rollins, and Ambrose all together, just going against whoever, whether it be The Bar and The Miz, or, if it's this match again. But I think that The Miz's team is going to take it. So just to basically recap everything that's going to, my predictions for tonight, I basically am, let me look at my notes, blah, blah, blah. So we have Fox versus Banks. I think I said Banks is going to win. Mickey versus Bliss. Bliss is going to retain her title. Kalisto versus Enzo. Enzo is going to win and he regain it for a second time, the Cruiserweight Championship. Balor versus Styles after Bray Wyatt is out due to medical issues, as they say. Styles is going to win, my prediction. Emma versus Asuka. Asuka is going to win. Alexander and Swan versus Kendrick and Gallagher. I think Alexander and Swan are going to take this. And then the Shield Angle versus The Bar, Kane, Strowman, and The Miz. Wow, I had something totally different. I think that The Miz's team is going to win for the last match. And so those are my predictions. Those are my good and bad of Raw and SmackDown and everything else. I know this went on a little bit long, almost an hour, but it is what it is. Like I said, I'm gonna try and shorten it. I'm trying to condense it to like a 30-minute show. Hopefully I can find a way to do that. I have an idea, but it all goes with prioritizing different things. Like I said, like you guys don't probably know, like I watch Raw and SmackDown basically towards the end of the week, like Saturday and Sunday. I say Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are the times that I actually get to catch up on Raw and SmackDown. So that's why I be so late, and that's why this is being put up late. But in any case, I'd like to thank you guys for listening, and do me a favor, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the like up button, the thumbs up, and all that good stuff, and turn your notifications so that you'll get notified for anything that will appear on my channel. And again, thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys stick around every week for everything that I have to put out: movie reviews, show reviews, Take One podcast, and now the Triple W podcast, and just all the new things that I'm basically going to be implementing on my channel. And I will catch you guys on the next one. So, peace out.